Today I decided to give you guys a ranking of the Child's Play and Chucky franchise. This is a series of films that started in 1988 and have been ongoing with TV shows, remakes, and even sequels to this very day. There are a total of 8 films overall, so I figure without further ado, I give you guys my ranking of the Child's Play / Chucky franchise from worst to best. Coming in last place is 2017's Cult of Chucky. Without a doubt the worst of the 7 films, Cult of Chucky was a continuation of the surprise hit Curse of Chucky, and it just doesn't deliver on any sort of interesting front. It's tonally inconsistent. The mental ward setting is kind of boring, and while it does start off kind of interesting, the ultimate reveal at the end with, spoiler alert, multiple different Chuckies just doesn't really fit this movie that well. Ultimately, I just can't recommend Cult of Chucky. It's slow, it's dull, it's kind of boring, and it's pretty much a one-time watch for me. Wasted potential, I would have to say. Coming in at number 7 is 2004's Seed of Chucky. That's right, it's a boy. After the shocking ending of Bride of Chucky, they decided to continue upon that cliffhanger of an ending and show you Chucky's offspring. What we get is essentially a batshit insane movie that essentially has Chucky's offspring looking for his parents, somehow resurrecting them, and then finding out that he has multiple personalities. He might be transgender, which is probably one of the first times you've ever had a character like that in mainstream media. It's definitely an out there premise for a horror movie, and it's not really one that I watch that often, but I do have kind of a soft spot just for the absurdity of it all. Up next is the 2019 Child's Play remake, entitled, well, Child's Play. This film was kind of interesting, essentially taking the original concept, flipping it on its head, and making Chucky a android this time instead of a possessed doll. While not necessarily a terrible idea, it does basically take the same beats as the original and delivers them in a much less interesting way. And Chucky himself, voiced by Mark Hamill this time, is just not the greatest. The robot design is kind of neat, but it looks kind of weird. Ultimately, it's not a god-awful film. A decent remake that could have been a lot worse than it is. Coming in at 5th place is 1998's Bride of Chucky. The best thing I can say about this entry is that it's actually really fun. This time, the series pretty much went off the rails, not to the degree of Seed or Cult, mind you, but they were definitely going for a more comedic tone. Ronnie Yu directs this time around, the same guy that did Freddy vs. Jason, and it does show. Ultimately, this is a slasher comedy film. There are some horror elements, but it's more funny than anything, and it's an enjoyable entry. Brad Dourif is great in the movie as Chucky once again, and Jennifer Tilly is actually really good as the bride of Chucky, Tiffany. Overall, it's an entertaining film, one that's definitely out there, but one that you're going to have a good time with. Coming in at number 4 is 2013's Curse of Chucky. This one actually surprised me a lot because it was the first one not released in theaters. Well, I think it had a very limited release, but it was essentially a straight-to-video and streaming movie. And ultimately, it was pretty damn entertaining. The great thing about this film is that it essentially is a continuation of the first 5 movies, but gets back to basics, and it wraps up that series in a very nice way. If there weren't any more Chucky movies after this, it actually would be a pretty damn good send-off. It's suspenseful, much like the original. There's a mystery, which you don't really see coming, or at least not in the way you think it's going to play out, and Brad Dourif is great once again as Chucky. Brad Dourif's daughter, Fiona Dourif, is also in the film, playing the main character of the movie. She's wheelchair bound and must stop Chucky before he kills, well, pretty much everyone. It's just a unique premise for a movie that's essentially like a haunted house movie, only the ghost is, well, Chucky. It's pretty damn entertaining. I highly recommend it. It's such a fun entry and one that really surprised me. I was not expecting the 6th entry into the series to blow me away, but, well, it did. It's such a shame that we didn't get a good follow-up with Cult of Chucky. But we still do have this really awesome entry, and it's great that Don Mancini came back to bring us such an entertaining and fun film, especially so late into the franchise. Coming in at number 3 is 1991's Child's Play 3. I've always been a fan of this entry, and I think that it's really entertaining. A lot of people kind of sit on this one and act like it's not that great and kind of just ignore it, but I think it's actually one of the best of the franchise. I absolutely love Child's Play 3. It shows a teenage Annie this time around in a military academy, and Chucky sneaks in and causes all kinds of hell, in his attempt to take down Andy and find a new body once again. It's definitely an out there entry, and it's kind of a unique setting. It is unfortunate that they didn't bring back the original actor, Alex Vincent, to reprise his role, but the new guy does a good job, and what we get is a fun, entertaining movie where Chucky goes around killing people in a military academy. Coming in at number 2 is 1990's Child's Play 2. This is a fan favorite in the franchise, and I understand why. This film is, in my opinion, the most entertaining of the franchise. It's not quite my favorite, but damn if it isn't close. Continuing the story of the first film, just a couple years later, it sees Alex Vincent return in the role as Andy, as he's trying to escape Chucky once again, and Chucky's trying to take over his soul after being resurrected after his destruction in the first film. He's put back together by the original toy company so they can cover their asses from lawsuits, and his spirit gets resurrected and all hell breaks loose once again. It's a really fun and kind of zany entry. Like, it's a lot more bright and colorful than the first, but I think that adds to the aesthetic of really the title, Child's Play. It seems innocent and fun, but really it's dark, macabre, and sinister underneath the surface. A really great entry. Everyone's great here. I think this might be the best performance of Chucky by Brad Dourif, and it's one that I can't recommend enough. But coming in at number 1 is my favorite of the franchise, and it is 1988's Child's Play. This film was directed by Tom Holland, not to be confused with Spider-Man, written by Don Mancini, and starring Brad Dourif and many other great actors, and it's basically a story about a man named Charles Lee Ray, a serial killer, who uses his voodoo abilities to take over the body of a doll once he's about to die, and all hell breaks loose as he tries to transfer his soul to this child so he can be reborn. A creepy and macabre premise. It's just done in an amazing fashion. It's a fun, extreme slasher movie that kind of broke the norms of what a slasher film could be. One that I really recommend, and one that's very fun. You gotta love the original Child's Play. Well, that's my ranking. I do apologize for the late release of this video. I was essentially sick for an entire week, and I've only just been getting better this week. But I did get this out to you as quick as I could, and I do like to have one video out a week, so I'll try not to do that again. And I do appreciate all of you for your patience, and I do thank you all for watching. I love the Child's Play franchise, and I recommend all of them. There's even a 4K set that's either out or coming out soon, and I recommend that as well. I've heard some good things. So again, I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed my list, and if you like, leave your list down below. This is a great franchise, and one that deserves all the love that it gets. There's even a TV show out now that I've yet to check out, but I will at some point. Again, thank you all for watching, and peace out.